owner of 4 Center Court, Green Island, requesting a special use permit on behalf of prospective tenant Closetivity to utilize space to store material for a custom closet business. The property is zoned industrial. Kaylin, could you give a brief description?
Sure. The potential tenants are John Morrow and his partner Dan Shepard. They bought a Closetivity franchise, which is a home-based business. They intend to utilize the space to store pallets of closet materials that arrive at the Port of Albany until they're ready to be installed at the customer's home. They'll be delivering the material and picking it up utilizing a tall Sprinter-like van. They'll operate Monday through Friday, arrive at the space anytime between 9 and 5 to pick up the materials and deliver and install the closets at the home, not at our site, but at their customer's house. They may operate on a random Saturday if an order needs to be picked up from the port. They do not operate on Sundays, and there will not be any customers at the location, and all closet work is done at the customer's home. It's pretty much just a drop-off and pick-up location to store material.
And you said it was vans, not tractor trailers or anything?
No, it's just the one van that they have.
Okay. Maggie and Todd, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't. I would just say contact Todd directly for the inspection and CO.
Okay.
Are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? If not, then could I ask for a motion to approve the special use permit?
Make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the special use permit's granted. You're all set.
Thank you.
The next item that we had on the agenda has been withdrawn at the request of the owner. So we only have one more item, a presentation by Louisi Companies on the proposed Factory Town project consisting of residential development to be sited on approximately 33 acres of land between the Hudson River and Cannon Street. The property is being considered for a planned development district. So this is just a presentation. We're not taking any formal action. And we had a presentation before, but this is going to be an update. So, Chuck?
You want us to set up over here?
Yeah, that would be great.
Don't break it on the way there.
Just watch the cord there.
Is this good right here?
Whatever.
As everyone can see.
And Ed just wants you to speak up a little bit because he's recording and stuff.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Adam Persino with McFarland Johnson Engineering. We're the engineers of record for this project. We presented previously our concept plan and we submitted for the PDD application. And we just wanted to tonight provide an update. We did receive some comments to date, and we've addressed those initial comments, and we've submitted concept plans now with a little more detailed information. So I'll just briefly go through the comments received to date. So the traffic study was submitted. The village's engineer reviewed the traffic study, had some comments. We've addressed them, and some of the adjustments to the site plan that incorporated some of their comments that we hadn't really gone in that much detail prior is we did show the 4-way stop sign, which is shown in our traffic study for the proposed leg of the intersection to intersect with Cannon Street and Veterans Memorial Drive, with some crosswalks as well as a crosswalk at the other driveway. We did collect some speed data on Cannon Street and some additional 24-hour data for, I believe it ended up being like 10 consecutive days, just to make sure the volumes that we were using were accurate and then the speed was appropriate. 85th percentile speed did come back at 39 miles per hour. It's posted at 30, so it justifies some of these, the 4-way stop and some of the crosswalk improvements to help slow traffic down. If you're not familiar with the area, currently there is no stop sign along Cannon Street, so cars tend to quickly make that turn, or they could progress straight through. So that was the main comments as relates to traffic. We did also receive some site plan comments from the village engineer, and I'll just go through those again quickly. One of the comments was this used to be a dead end over by the clubhouse, And we were looking into options anyway for more of a drop-off style or loop, and we came up with this scenario where it's now a loop for fire access. We don't need any kind of hammerhead or anything like that for a fire apparatus to turn around. The other question was related to pedestrian connections. Again, it was conceptual before. We didn't necessarily show all the connections, but now we've got connections down to the trail and connections up to Cannon Street for pedestrians. And also, a question came up regarding dumpster enclosures. Previously, we didn't show those, but now we've got them shown kind of scattered throughout the site. Trying to obviously be discreet with our dumpster enclosures, keeping them on the back sides of all of the different entrances to the building. I think that was about it. One other thing was what would be the posted speed along the road, internal road, the private drive. It will be posted at 10 miles per hour, and we did install some speed humps as well to address that comment. Did I miss anything, Chuck, or anything you wanted to add?
The unit reduction.
Yep. After going through, and I think we talked about this at the last meeting, we were looking at some of the grading and trying to figure out how it would all work with the topography out there. As a result, we did drop off one building. This used to have 3 buildings, now it only has 2. This used to have 4 buildings, and now it only has 3. So it was an overall reduction of, I believe, 16 units, because there are 8 units per building. That was, again, purely based on topography and to try to get the look and feel that Luizzi Brothers is going for. Anything else? That's about it for updates. As you can see, the layout essentially remained identical to what we showed before, other than those building reductions and some more details.
Anybody have any questions?
I just have one comment. Late last week, we had sent you the response we received from New York State DOT.
Yep.
And they would suggest that we look into traffic at Tibbetts and 787 and Dyke Ave and 787. So in the next round of review, will you be incorporating that? I believe the only other comment in there was the walking path, maintenance of that, and potentially making that a shared path, as multi-use path.
And yeah, we've got to look into that a little
Okay.
bit. So we did receive those comments. I probably should have brought that up, but we don't have formal responses yet. One of the issues potentially, and Chuck, you can chime in, of converting this to a multi-use path is that it does go through the Eagle's Nest area, buffer area. So we were trying to keep that much more natural, if you will. There's only so many things, so much stuff you can do within the 330-foot buffer as well as the 660-foot buffer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to add to that as far as we wouldn't necessarily want a multi-use path that would then go to something that's not traversable by
Sure.
a device that would be on something more paved or something of that nature.
Yeah, so a lot of the discussions that we had with DEC, we had our first meeting out in the field regarding the regulatory boundaries and stuff that we're going to be dealing with the Bald Eagle's Nest, and we're working through that now. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do any type of construction in the 330. So as those conversations kind of mature and we kind of figure out what type of mitigation results we'd have to do and different things along the lines of that, some of this multi-use path may change. Doesn't mean that it won't come in existence. It's an amenity we want to provide our residents, but it just may be shifted to be more roadside to the roads and kind of take more of a meandering approach where it's not all riverfront access.
Right.
Right now, we also had our final meetings with Army Corps and DEC in regards to wetland boundaries. Those boundaries were verified and agreed on by Army Corps and DEC. And at this time, we're proceeding with a no permit required letter, so we have no disturbance and no need to provide any type of permitting to move forward with the way the development's laid out right now.
Chuck, can I just ask what you meant by a multi-use of the trail?
Yeah, so like multi-use would, more under the understanding that it wouldn't just be for walkers. Like Starbuck, I only did a 5-foot sidewalk around the boundary of the property. Multi-use would be a little wider to be able to
8 to 10
provide
feet.
access for bikes, people walking and two-way travel to be able to pass one another. Like Adam stated, it's usually more in the 8-foot realm than it is a 5-foot realm.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about, I thought it was just gonna be a pedestrian path. I don't think it's fair to the people that are gonna live there to have this multi-stuff going by their houses all the time. I think it also makes it more difficult for the police to, you know, chase somebody if they're in there, if they're on a vehicle or. You know,
Absolutely.
something, so.
And that's something, we can take that comment, move forward with it in the site plan. I don't think a lot of the topography in here is gonna be able to allow an 8-foot path anyways. A lot of the topo that we're working on right now with retaining wall breaks and some of the regulatory floodway boundaries are making any type of pathway along the river pretty difficult just because of the amount of fill we have to bring in to be able to make it come out of the floodplain, the development as a whole.
I mean, I think the bike path that we have on the road is
More than
enough to get them to the river, so.
Yep, and that, aside from that, seeker, responses are spilled in, like Maggie said, we had New York State DOT, who's usually one of the longest ones to respond, had provided some comment. And, I don't know, Alita, are we waiting on any other regulatory agencies, or I think?
Now that the 30 days passed, they had to speak up by that deadline, otherwise the village can proceed.
Yep, so we've went through our 30-day period on that, so, most importantly, at least DOT's provided comments so we can further the traffic discussion, try to look into any type of mitigation that may be necessary and elaborate more on the traffic analysis.
Next steps.
Yeah.
So next steps would be, we've got our concept plans, which consist of grading, site layout, and utilities at a very conceptual level. For coordination purposes, we'll coordinate with the village, especially as it relates to utilities, on where we'd be tying in and things of that nature. The next step would be then to progress those plans to preliminary design plans. That would include the development of an EAR, an environmental assessment report, similar in nature to what we did for Starbuck Island. And that would include, it would essentially bundle up all the different environmental studies that would be done for the project and package it up in one consolidated package for the village to review and to guide them on how they want to make determinations related to seeker. So that's still to come. We've got a couple studies still to come in. Archaeological phase 1A was completed. They are going to be doing a phase 1B, which is more hand digging, actual in the field investigations. That'll happen only in the northern portion after they did all their research. The majority of the site has been previously disturbed from when the Ford companies was doing their operations, but there is a section, like I said, up in this corner that will be investigated for any kind of archaeological sensitive areas. So that's forthcoming in the next month or two.
And Joe Romano from Club Harbor is here. He's been reviewing everything for the village. I don't know if you have any comments.
No, I think Adam, gave a good summary of our comments that we have given on the concept. One other report that I think we're going to really have to dig into the review is the stormwater pollution prevention plan when that's prepared, and all the drainage and stormwater management on the site. So from a technical standpoint, we'll have to put some effort into reviewing that. But they addressed our initial comments on the concept layout. So I think they're moving in the right direction.
Utilities and stormwater are the next heavy lifts to go from conceptual to preliminary design.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we have no further business, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
What's your step?